Awesome. Welcome to Contractors Mastermind 2020 edition. My name is Gene. I got Mr. Brad on the line. Welcome, sir.
Yeah. Hey, Gene. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome, man. So to get us going, man, I wanted to introduce you, your business, who you work with, what you specialize in, how long you've been in business, and kind of roll from there.
Yeah. So I work with American Roofing Company, which is headquartered in Summerville, Georgia, with our main location in Chattanooga, Tennessee, as well as branch offices in Nashville, Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee, and Kennesaw, Georgia, with future expansion to other kind of outlying areas as well. Charlotte, North Carolina is probably the next branch to open up in the next couple of months. And basically, we are primarily a residential shingle installer, licensed general contractor in all states that we service, and also a licensed public adjuster on staff, which is what I do in my role here in the company. And so basically our main bread and butter of the business is insurance restoration of residential roofs. We also do venture into, with the recent tornadoes we've seen in the area, we do, we leverage our general contractor experience in that regard, but we try to mainly focus on the roof portion. Okay. Outside of when a tornado hits in the backyard kind of thing.
Gotcha. So you've been in this business for, you said,
a decade. We've been in Chattanooga for 10 years, essentially, right at 10 years. And that's where, we were kind of born out of the Chattanooga area, Northwest Georgia area, which is all grown over the past decade.
Gotcha. So from your experience, what have been some of the toughest challenges you guys had to face as a company moving forward over the past, we'll talk about stuff currently with the COVID in 2020, but what's that look like over the past 10 years?
Yeah. So, and I've not been here for the whole entire run of the 10 years, but I came from an insurance carrier prior to being in American Roofing. And so I've worked, I've seen kind of the growth of the company, and that's been, I would say, the largest obstacle to overcome is how quick to grow, how soon to grow kind of thing, and making sure that we grow within the confines of our cash flows, if you will, while not overstretching those, but also making sure that we are capitalizing on market share that we're attaining essentially daily. So that's been the biggest obstacle, is kind of gauging that out. And the leadership team does a good job at kind of vetting that out and making sure that we move at what we perceive to be the right time, versus kind of getting ahead of ourselves, if you will.
Right. So leading up to now, what is 2020 and what is COVID? How has that been affecting business? You go back 6 months and prep for now, what would you do?
Yeah, so that was, I will say that it kind of caught everyone off guard just a little bit. We had been, we just fresh off the International Roofing Expo, which we took a team of over 40 to, and we're able to get some ideas, and we were already prepping kind of this telemarketing phase. Our business is primarily door-to-door sales, and essentially our salesmen, the current model, they knock doors in homes, offer free roof inspections, and then kind of go from there. But how do you navigate that when nobody wants to talk to anyone? So what we had already kind of had in play for fourth quarter 2020, a telemarketing group that was going to be an internal team of folks that help drive kind of retail business and retail sales. And basically they just we're going to call, that was going to be their job. We had that kind of prepping. The COVID pandemic, basically just put that into drive and move that ahead, essentially is what happened. So we went ahead and implemented that. Absolutely did. Saw some good results. That is still something we're leveraging even right now, but it was absolutely in response to the COVID pandemic that we went ahead and implemented that team of folks. We did change the model. Instead of being an internal team, they're work from home at this point, and they call and set that up and, set up an inspection, a free inspection, but just like our door knockers would have been doing, but instead of knocking doors, they're making phone calls, respecting social distancing and all of that. So we're trying to comply with the CDC guidelines while also maintaining business. Now, so that was what we were doing. We were forecasting out a few months, kind of seeing what would happen as we started to kind of catch up with our current jobs and those things. And then at that point, all that kind of went to pot because we had a tornado in the backyard in
Right.
Chattanooga. Had that large tornado, and at that point it becomes about helping your neighbors. You being that we were equipped and capable of handling an event like the tornadoes of April 12th, we wanted to make sure that we were, we responded to action even in the middle of the night, tarping roofs and helping folks get their homes put back together. That's the biggest thing we've seen. So that became a completely different dilemma, and that's making sure we can keep up with the business at that point.
Right.
It's been a wild year already.
Yeah, but it sounds like it. What so is it all just strictly the telemarketing stuff and the door knocking that have been bringing in like new customers, or y'all what other means are y'all doing?
Yeah.
Some stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, what other things we're doing is our local radio station in the Cleveland, Tennessee area had reached out to us. They were doing a spotlight on local businesses kind of thing, and they knew about our we do a lot of our marketing comes from our cars, our vehicles. We take a lot of pride in those. We have some kind of specialty vehicles as well that we use as marketing tools. But we ended up going up in December and winning the Christmas parade in Cleveland, Tennessee. So based on that, this radio station reached out offering us, a free ad spot, if you will, an interview on after the tornadoes of what we were doing, what we could do, that kind of thing. And so we took advantage of that. And, that's helped us as well. So you kind of go back to the parade, being involved in the community that we service, one of them, led to, this radio spot, which then turned in or led to a TV spot as well, where we gave away a free roof to a lady who'd been affected by the tornadoes and not, unable to get her roof replaced, no insurance kind of story. So we did that on live TV, kind of gave that roof away to her. And she didn't expect that, and rolled up the same day. Like we said, hey, we're giving you a roof, and then said, hey, we're giving you a roof like right now. So they're like rolling on site as we speak. And that was all good, kind of some good marketing, good publicity. Yeah. And also at the same time, a lot of our core beliefs revolve around helping our community. And both of those, we were able to do that. We were doing free tarping. That was another thing we did in the storm, was offering a free tarp. We tarp them, there was no obligation at all. For a period of time, and that led to a lot of business coming in as well as a result of that. And aside from that, our tarps have our logo, so they're flying on the roof with our logo. So that's kind of those are really about the main things we've been doing outside of word of mouth and positive referrals.
Has the internet played it at all to you guys?
Yeah.
I know some roofing companies that have had to switch to nothing but virtual estimates online, like doing social media, doing Facebook advertising, Google websites. What's that been looking like for y'all's company? Is that something you're pushing or not so much, and why?
Yeah, we've had a strong Facebook presence for a number of years, and we advertise on there. We do a lot of things. We push ads, not just outside of regular posts. We share, houses that we do, we share other things, and we'll boost those posts and invest money into that, the social media aspect of things. As pretty much everyone is on Facebook or one of the other social media platforms. But at this point, we primarily delve into Facebook. We want to make sure that we're high on the search engine optimization as well. We want to make sure that when you search for a roofing contractor in your area, if it's an area we service, we want to make sure American Roofing's one of the top, if not the top choice that comes up there. And we've seen that even the past week. Somebody called and said, well, hey, I looked for roofers in Knoxville and you guys came up first. So tell me what you know about Atlas Chalet shingles, at which point we were glad to tell them what we know about Atlas Chalet shingles. So yeah, that's pretty much, we put a lot of emphasis into the social media platform though. And we've got, as soon as we realize we're going into a market, we want to go ahead and get that branch, that branch's page set up and ready to be used as soon as we're present.
To be able to capture those leads that are going to be coming in 100%.
For sure. Yeah.
What is, so this is a little bit, I'll let you kind of run with this, but if a customer had to choose between you and 3 other roofing companies, what would be the main selling point with you guys?
Yeah. So, I think legitimacy would be one of the biggest things. We're licensed and, licensed and insured, and, we're a general contractor and also basically a staff public adjuster, if you will, on site in the office. And that's, something every job that comes through is reviewed by those people. Both of those individuals review every job to make sure that the homeowner is getting not the most dollar amount, we'll say, out of the insurance policy, but the best. They want to make sure they get a quality roof install, or if it's other trades, general contractor items as well. So that's the biggest thing I would say that separates us, is that, and our presence, that we're not going anywhere, we're not storm chasing, we live and work in the markets we service, essentially. So that's kind of our biggest, not claim to fame, but our biggest selling point would be that we're here. If your roof leaks in a few years, we're going to be around. We're going to take care of that. If you're trying to find us, you can walk right into a physical location and have someone there that can assist you with all your needs. And we do everything on the up and up. We're not trying to out here. We don't cut corners, and we don't really undercut the insurance companies either. We do it for what they say, kind of thing, and we work with them hand in hand. And frankly, a lot of times we're seeing where the insurance companies come out and they shortchange someone, but they'll write a repair on a discontinued shingle or some other kind of deal. And a lot of times with our in-house resources, we're able to get those overturned and make sure that they're properly indemnified.
Well, you're more invested in it as well yeah, that's awesome.
For sure. Yeah. And I at prior times, and this is prior to my coming on board, they did a little bit of the follow the storm kind of approach, the storm chasing, if you will. And I think that they found that most people, if you did a survey, most people would rather have someone local, someone they can call, someone they can trust, someone they can research even. And that's kind of where we've decided to plant our feet, if you will. And that's what we're doing now. We are growing, though. That being said, we're not just sitting right here and putting all our eggs in one basket. We are looking to expand and build the brand and things of that nature. And to that end, we have kind of plant teams, if you will, that will go and set up roots there. They'll set up shop, and then they start going about recruiting, additional resources to help, and salesmen and office people and things of that nature. But pretty much it's all run and managed out of our corporate office, which is in Summerville, Georgia.
Gotcha. Do you personally, or even from a company standpoint, do you think things are going to go back to what's normal going to look like in the future?
Yeah.
Business has changed so much in the past 2 months just from this COVID stuff going on. Like, what is that looking like for y'all's business? What do you think that's looking like for the industry overall? It's very open-ended, but do you think you're going to be able to get back to door to door? Is that ever going to be a thing again? Or, a lot of it's speculation, but virtual estimates, what's that looking like? Or
yeah. So virtual estimates, you mentioned that earlier, and I'm sorry I didn't touch on that. But the estimate side of things is where that's where I tend to divert. I tend to be the expert on estimating around here, just based on my experience. I was a large loss adjuster with one of the major insurance carriers for years, and so that's kind of my what I bring to the table. And the virtual estimates, there's a lot of software out there now, and I won't name them just for namesake, but a lot of software out there that provides the measurements, the scope of work from satellite photos, from photos on the ground the insured can take, and things of that nature. And so we're able, a lot of the estimates we write, that me and my team write, are estimates where we're not on site. We're virtual altogether. So we can do a lot of that through pictures and through material identification and things of that nature. And I think that's probably the way the business is going. We're seeing a lot of the insurance carriers we meet with who are now, either doing a FaceTime similar app called Claim Not Ever coming on site either. They're working a lot from a desk. That's been coming on the insurance side for years. Probably 3 or 4 years ago that they started with kind of virtual estimating and I helped launch that. I think it's probably the way things are going, because you can be a little more efficient in that regard, as long as you can get the information you need. And I think it all takes, someone highly trained probably on at least one end of that spectrum. At least the desk person has to be trained enough to be able to write that estimate from a virtual aspect. I think but I do think that we estimate retail estimates. We can have the homeowner take 8 pictures of their house. It'll give us an approximation of the quantity, and we can write that estimate without, in 30 minutes without ever going on site. So I think that's the way of the world. Things are going more towards speed and efficiency, and the I want it now kind of mentality. And I think that's the way we're going. To reference your other question about what will business look like and what's the new normal, it's hard to say. I do know that some of our teams have been able to still knock even in this. They've done so sparingly and kind of in controlled environments. But I do think that biggest in one basket. Not that we've ever said that all we do is knock, but we're going to have to get, more creative, like the telemarketing approach, like the social media approach. Referrals are always the best, I feel, still, right. But all these other things kind of will make up what would be a diversified lead generation system for each company. Yeah.
Well, it's also too, like the referrals. Like, I know so many business owners who just have maintained or have done so well with just referrals, but like, how do you even generate even more referrals? Is almost like another topic to think about.
Mm-hmm.
How you bringing in more business, besides just one-off referrals, like what are other sources to continue to the streams that go into the river of referrals? Yeah,
and that's one thing we did too. That's another thing we did when the COVID hit is we had our salesmen. We said, hey, if you got some prior customers who you have a real positive relationship with, it might be a good time to reach out to them. Say, hey, we're in this pandemic kind of situation. I'm unable to knock as much as I could. Do you have some leads? And that was successful, I would say. Awesome. We really tend to leave it to each salesman. We have, we all, like every company, we have certain metrics we expect them to hit or exceed. And we offer them tools and ideas, and then kind of put it on them to go from there and figure out what works best for them. Some of the salesmen work only on referrals. Some of them never knock the first door. As long as they're hitting their numbers, honestly, it's really up to them, whatever works best for their model.
Yeah, exactly. What plans for y'all's business? What are some benchmarks moving forward? 6 months, year, 1 to 5, 5 to 10. What does that kind of look like as a grand scope? You mentioned stuff about taking over more market share in different states and different cities.
Yeah.
What's that look like? But also, what's the ideal for the business that y'all are looking to run?
Yeah, so we're wanting, our goal is to be a nationwide presence at some point, and that's not next year. That's probably 10 years, honestly. But we really kind of started in the Chattanooga area, if you will. Chattanooga, Summerville, it's kind of one and the same. Our town is a really small town, and then kind of took the hour and a half radius from there. And then the next one will be, the 3 to 6 hour radius kind of from there with those major cities. But that's our model. That's our goal. We're already, even as we speak, licensed in states that we don't have business in yet. That's our plan. We get all the proper licenses in place. And so, if you take the Tennessee, Georgia area and draw a line, you can kind of draw it like concentric circles of where we are. The next step, is about 6 hours from there, and then so forth from there. So that's the goal. I would say moving forward, I know that we've already Charlotte's going to be opening up soon, and that's happening. That we know that for a fact. We've already identified the partner out there, and that's going to be happening. And then we go from there. I'm not sure where the next spot will be. Could be a Birmingham or Huntsville, something in that regard. But I would say by the end of 2020, I would expect another couple of branches to open. I think some of that probably got delayed based on the pandemic, but at the same time, we've seen we've been very favorable in the business with Nashville Tornadoes and Chattanooga Tornadoes. That we're not in a bad spot. We're in a blessed spot, unlike a lot of other businesses who weren't able to kind of come through this. It just kind of happened right for us. So. you know, so that I would say, then the following year it'd probably be, you know, another doubling the branches and then going from there. But that's our model is set up branches in new cities and go from there.
Right. Right.
Our goal is to be, you know, like I said, a nationwide presence, and with maintaining the corporate office that kind of the brain behind it all in Summerville, Georgia, which is the hometown of myself, the owner, and as well as, you know, our corporate staff.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh. It's awesome. It's awesome. No, I love it. Last question, man. It's kind of let you run away with it. Any advice, thoughts, rude remarks, however rude they may be? Feel free to go. I'm just playing. Whatever you want to add that you didn't get to share.
Yeah. So advice, I would say, you know, I would say find find what you're good at, you know, find what's your bread and butter and stick to that. I think that we've seen in this environment where we're trying to do multiple trades and all that, I found that I think we're better and more equipped when we focus on what we're good at, and that's residential roof installs. You know, when that's our focus, everything seems to run smoother. It's when we start trying to diversify what we do too much that we start kind of hitting some issues and some inconsistencies, and that's what my recommendation would be to specialize, but specialize to the nth degree where you're growing and to that effect. That would be my advice. So
yeah.
And the other thing I would say is, you know, paying professionals will always do better for you than hiring a team of unprofessionals. You know, people who are inexperienced and expect just to save a few bucks. I would say hiring professionals will pay off in the end.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Brad, thanks for hopping on. I'm going to end the recording here. I really appreciate you, man. This was awesome.
Sure, Gene. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Reach out anytime.
I will.